Anyway, this is my buddy. He comes up here in some of the nearby canyons, and I'm going to just let him take off from here. So tell me a little bit about what you do up here and why you're up here.
All right, Rob. I've got some animals up here in my brother's place, and I just come up and feed them, take care of them, watch them, try to make sure they don't get lost, and that's basically what I do, and feed them. But it happens about once a day, so I like to check on them. I came up, it was in the 1st of March, probably about 4 years ago, and I was working on a sink, and my brother's got a little ranch house over here. I was working on a sink, and it was snowing. So the snow was probably 8 inches deep here at the mouth of the canyon, pretty close, and it was snowing really hard, so I was inside the house working on a sink, and finally the snow quit. I opened up the windows and the snow had quit falling and the sun was shining really bright. So I went outside because I like to see if there's any white goats up on the cliffs. As I was looking at the top of the mountain, the skyline, I could see something that didn't look right. I've always noticed that there was a big tree on the skyline close to the top. Well, as I looked in that morning, I saw that there was like 2 trees. As I saw this tree, I thought that was the strangest thing. So
Now, about how far do you feel that mountaintop is from where you're
I looked at it on Google Earth and tried to do the distant thing, and from what I got, it was 4 miles as the crow flies. So at 4 miles away, I could see the top of the mountain, and I could see this tree on the skyline. Well, this morning there was 2 trees. I pulled out some 8x40s that I have in my truck, and I took a quick look at it. As I saw this tree, I noticed it was actually moving. So then I ran into the little house.
Now, 8x40s are kind of standard binoculars,
correct,
right?
Yeah,
okay.
I just keep them in my truck and look at them for things to look at deer and whatever. I got in the house and I pulled out some 8x50s, some old doctors, and or 10x50s, and I set them on a tripod, and I looked again, and this tree was actually further down the hill, and it was actually walking. The weather was starting, the clouds were coming around, and there was moisture in the air, so it made it a little bit fuzzier. I got out a spotting scope and I put it up in the back of my truck, and it's a 60 power night vision, not night vision, but starlight, whatever you call it, Nikon scope, and watched this thing walk down the hill. I called my brother, who's in Arizona, as I was watching it, and literally was describing what I was seeing. I was seeing a single person / man type figure walking down this skyline. All dark, black, no backpack, no hat, just walking down, no snowboard. It was early enough in the morning that there was no roads to this place, or even to a close trail. So this person had to start walking, if it was a man, had to start walking early in the middle of a snowstorm to get to the top of the mountain, because I was literally looking at a flag on top of the mountain, trying to see if there was any white billy goat or white goats up there. So I watched this man-like figure walking down this hill, and I had a long time to watch him, and long enough to know that he was all by himself. Nobody, no snowboards, and I didn't think a helicopter had dropped him off. And how he got there, I don't know. He just had to walk, and that would have been a long walk. On a horseback, it took me 4 or 5 hours on a horse in good weather. So this was totally at least 3-4 feet of snow up there, and he was just walking around, and he walked the whole length of this mountain, this rock slide, down to where these trees came into the kind of the bottom of the hill, the top of the mountain, and then he just disappeared. But I know I watched him for a good 15 minutes. So I know what I saw.
And what did you think it was at the time?
I thought it was either, well, I don't really believe in Bigfoot, but I'm kind of hoping he's alive. I thought it was either a Sasquatch or a man. And the man just doesn't make sense. He was by himself on top of a mountain, and early enough that he had to get there some other way than just driving.
And that's about 11,000 foot mountain,
yeah,
right?
it's exactly 11,000 feet. And so this person slash person thing was up there all by himself. It was, and I could see colors. You could see a red on the flag, so I could see colors. So, but it was all dark, black as your camera, and no backpack. I could see there was no backpack, and just walking down that hill.
Huh, that's
Crazy. So anyway, that was my story, and I'm sticking to it. That's what I saw.
Now, in the canyon where you at, have you ever seen any indication that there might be Sasquatch? or the
Well,
like?
we've been up here our whole lives, and we've always had things walking around, but I've never seen anything. There's always bear and mountain lions, of course, but as far as Sasquatch, other than what Rob has shown me, as far as these structures being popping up every here and there, I can't explain them either. So I've never seen anybody build them, work on them, or be in them. So, but I know that they're here, and I don't understand that.
And there's one structure within about 50 yards of where we're standing, or at least was there, and it got torn down, right?
Yeah, there's actually one even further than that, just down in the, where you saw. It's still there. It's still there. So they're around, but I don't know who builds them or why, and no, it's a mystery.
Okay. Now tell me about your brother and when he was horseback riding on the other side of the canyon.
He took a mule. It was a mule, and he rode up. He comes up from Arizona, and he was riding a mule up to a place where we used to camp all the time, and there was a flat. And as he got up to this marshy flat, just below where we always camped, he saw he called it a town, like a whole town of structures. And he couldn't explain it. It sort of gave him the creeps as he was up there. Looked like, he called it druids, as though all these druids were building these structures. He saw a whole village of them. And trying to go back, we've since had forest fires and everything, so I don't think they're there anymore. But he saw a whole village of druid structures up just not very far from here either.
Yeah, I've made several trips up there trying to find them, actually this year, but I hiked rather than rode a horse. And I couldn't find anything, but the Forest Service had been in there. They'd piled up all sorts of dead wood, and then you could see where the fire had burned through. So I would imagine they either got raked together by the Forest Service or the fire took them all out.
Yeah.
Because fire hit that spot pretty hard.
Yeah.
And how long ago was this that he saw these structures?
A couple of years.
A couple of years, okay. And what did he think? He thought the druids, or
he thought it was druids.
Sasquatch?
He didn't know. He thought it was just a bunch of village druids up there. He didn't know what it was, but he sure thought it was strange. And it was something that children wouldn't do. Boy Scouts, it's just nothing that they do. And anyway.
All right. Well, I appreciate it. Now, tell me a little bit about the wild animals, the mountain lions and bears that you get in here.
Oh, we get a lot of things walking through. A couple of days ago, a mountain lion came through, and a couple of weeks ago, a bear came through just before it got close to Christmas. But there's always animals coming through here, elk all the time, and so it's wild country, not that far up the mountain, so it's pretty fun.
All right. Well, hey, I really appreciate your time.
Well, I appreciate talking to you, Rob.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
You bet.
That's my story, and I'm living by it. Bye.
All right.